I would like to move on and talk about some things, specifically the actual content for this video, which is going to be the difference between the social media platforms. A lot of people who watch me, I mean, shit, like half of the people nowadays, maybe more than half, are content creators. Since half of y'all are making content, why not talk about something that's kind of relevant? So what I've noticed, and take what you will, but what I've noticed there's really like, what, 4 big players? And I'm going to exclude 2 of them, even though I'm going to get hate in the chat for this. Yeah, I'm going to exclude them anyway, but I don't care. The ones I'm excluding are X, formerly known as Twitter, and Snapchat. I don't like either of them. Now, granted, I don't use either of them, but that's because I don't like either of them. One doesn't, whatever, I'm not going to explain that. So let's talk about TikTok. TikTok is really good for a couple different things. If you're trying to grow a platform or grow an audience, TikTok is probably the best place. Why? Because the impressions are really high. The community is generally more patient and generous about not being so strict on if your content's the best thing in the world or not. I would say TikTok is the best platform out of any other platform to do that. Way better than Twitch. So your impression rate's really high, the community's nice, and it's very user-friendly. That's my third one. It's really user-friendly. The stickers look really nice. The streaks you can get when you're chatting with someone looks really nice. The GIFs you put on there, the way the shop is embedded, the way that live streams are embedded in the feed, just those, it has great appearance and great functionality. Let's talk about where it doesn't do well. TikTok doesn't do very well in terms of payout for the content creators, and then in terms of impressioning for the people who do follow. So Gary Vee's talked about this, if you know him or not, and he's talked about how it's more nowadays, now social media has changed a lot over the years, I'm sure you've noticed, that nowadays it's more of an interest game than it is a base game. Pause, wait with me. But what I mean is if I make a video and I put this video out right now, I'm willing to bet 98% of you don't normally watch me or do not follow me. The other 2% are the people who follow me who just happen to see the video. Even though of the 2% who watch me, who watch this video, they're only a fraction of the entire population of people who do actually follow me. Let's say 100 people follow me, maybe 10 to 15 of them actually watch this video, while the remaining, let's say 10 to 15 people, let's say the remaining 95 people who watch this video, I don't get a lot of views, sad life. The remaining 95 people are just going to be people from FYP, maybe from a search result because you were looking for something specific, so on and so forth. That's what TikTok is really good at, and I would say TikTok is the most guilty of what I just explained. Let's move on to YouTube. YouTube is great for monetizing, solidifying a fan base, though not as strong as Twitch or I would argue Kick. You do get some impressions, though I would say the impressions aren't as abundant unless it's shorts. And I don't know how long that's going to last. I imagine once people realize that TikTok is really freaking saturated. And what I mean by that is like the average impression for a video on TikTok is probably 300 views for a testing ground. You get 300 views, that means you probably made a decent, like a somewhat decent video that reached some audience as a good sample size. On YouTube, my numbers are higher. Maybe your experience is different. Let me know if it is. But on YouTube, I can get between 500 and like 1.5K is my sample size to see if that video is cut in the shut, if the video's worth anything or not. They won't just stop at 300 impressions typically. And I also noticed that over time I get more views, whereas TikTok, it's like, okay, if you're not showing this thing within the first, I don't know, the first month, you're probably never going to see the video again. It's gone to the nether realm. So yeah, on TikTok, you're not going to get repeat views from older posts unless there's an update. I've heard that if there's an update, maybe, but I'm skeptical on that. YouTube, but again, YouTube pays higher. We're thinking advertisements. TikTok, you don't really get paid for ads. And if you do, your cost per paid ad is considerably lower. Don't quote me on this. I mean, obviously it changes. And from my research, the paid per click on YouTube is like 2 to 3 times the cost per view than it is on TikTok. So a TikTok, think you need crazy big numbers, and you consistently do crazy big numbers for the payout to be really like worthwhile, and you're doing the TikTok shop selling marketing, which happens every 5 videos, or you're being affiliate marketing, right? Sorry, not affiliate marketing. Well, there's that too, but I mean sponsorships. So, you're doing a collab with Domino's Pizza, and then it's an actual advertisement, and they use your face or your likeness, etc. Those things still happen on YouTube, and I would even argue that the payout's probably still higher. But yeah, you're not going to get paid on ads. Sorry, yeah, you're not going to get paid for as well if there are any ads for your content, right? People on this channel on YouTube, people on YouTube can make a couple K and do pretty well, like a couple K views and do decently well. Scratch that. I'm going to get sauced for that. Anyway, continuing. So then we have Twitch, and then we have Kick. Oh, by the way, the user friendliness of YouTube, kind of lower. Now, what does Twitch and what does Kick get right? Twitch and Kick get right because they put the advertising monetization power in the hands of the creators. Some people abuse it, some people don't. But your impression is intensely low. Oh my God, it's low. It's so incredibly low that you could stream for 5 hours and maybe get 4 people to actually even just see that you exist. They get to click on the video, that's amazing. But you're just not going to get an impression. Why? Because the platform's not really built on scrolling. They tried to implement something like that, but people already have their fan bases, and then they migrate to Twitch, and that's how they do it. They're not doing it because, oh, you stumbled across a channel. While that does happen, the homepage of Twitch is just all freaking the biggest people that you know, and the platform wants to hype up the biggest people they know. And it makes sense because, it's a safer bet. The quality's probably higher, it's probably more entertaining, yada yada. People on the platform, they keep running ads. But it sucks for the bottom 90% of people who, just don't have an audience, and they haven't been posting TikToks, shorts, or reels, or whatever. Yeah, same thing with Kick, though Kick obviously has the 95% percentage payout. But then again, the user base from Kick to Twitch, incredibly low. Incredibly, it's like a fraction of the amount of users on Twitch. But sorry, one more thing, and then I'll close this thing out. One more thing. The user friendliness on Twitch sucks, both for the creator and also for the user. It's not as visually appealing. There's not a sense of ecosystem or community. It just feels more like a one-sided mirror, and I want more of a conversation. I do better when I'm talking to somebody, not when it's just me to the open void. That's all I have to say about that. Just that. Anyway, what else? The takeaway from all of this, my advice, start posting a bunch of TikTok shorts and reels. Migrate your audience to higher paid places like YouTube, Twitch, Kick. Twitch and Kick if you're a streamer, and then YouTube if you want to do a mixture of both content creation with videos, but then also streaming. And that's where I come in. That's what I'm trying to do. Sure, this video is probably going to be another 100 views. I'm not really sure. I don't have a fan base yet. There's not like a consistent topic. We'll see. Anyway, I'm done rambling. Peace. Bye.